In this video, we are covering 4 important topics as it relates to your tech sales career. Number 1, why sales is the best career. Number 2, how to break into tech sales with no experience. Number 3, how much money you can expect to make. I'll reveal exactly how much money I made in my 5-year software sales career. And number 4, the best companies to work at and sell for. Feel free to skip forward to the section that's most relevant to your situation and hit the thumbs up button now so you can save this video and reference it in the future. Let's get started. It was really challenging for me to break into software sales because I never had a sales internship, no sales experience, no connections, no mentors, nothing. I had to write down my goal every single morning. I have gotten a sales job in a big city. I applied to dozens of companies. I did not know what the technology industry was. I almost worked at Camping World selling RVs, faced countless rejections, and eventually got super lucky and got an SDR job at a fast-growing technology company. While I cannot guarantee this information will get you a job, I can assure you that all of the tips, tactics, strategies in today's video are actionable and are proven based on real-world results for what worked for me and what worked for over 1,000 course career students in 2023 that we helped get sales jobs in the technology industry. Beginning with why sales is the best career, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal today that I read, and it was called Why Americans Don't Care as Much About Work Anymore. And it was really interesting to me talking about how the pandemic changed work and the future of work, how employees want more remote work and they want to spend more time outside the office. And while I understand all of these things, I think one of the biggest problems is that most people don't feel fulfilled by their careers. They don't feel connected to the sense of mission. They don't feel like they're achieving anything, and therefore they don't feel like they're progressing. Fortunately, in sales, you get all of that because sales is a performance-based career. You are not trading your time for money. If you mow lawns, if you wash dishes, if you babysit, all the jobs I used to have, you're trading your time for money. You're basically clocking in and clocking out. You're looking at the clock. Hey, when can I get out of here? I absolutely hate this. You get paid by the hour. When you are working in a proper performance-based career like sales, you are paid a salary, which is fixed, but you're also paid commission. This is performance. This is your variable pay. And based on your achievements, based on your contributions, based on the results you produce for the organization, typically in the form of more revenue, you can make more money and you will feel a deep sense of accomplishment so long as you are driven by actually producing. And then as you think about a career in sales, especially tech, it does provide quite a bit of workplace flexibility because the cultures tend to be pretty flexible. You have autonomy because so long as you're performing, your boss isn't, in most cases, going to be all over you. And you also can work remote or at least hybrid for most technology companies. So I think that that is pretty interesting as you think about, well, what career can I make a lot of money? Do I not have to sell my soul for? And can I find some enjoyment mastering? Because the sales skills you learn will always be in demand. AI will never replace you. You will use AI to be more productive. Organizations will always want to grow and they will always need salespeople. Moving forward to section number 2, how to land a tech sales job with no experience. There's 6 steps, and this is absolutely proven. Step number 1 is you need to complete course careers, especially if you don't have a degree or don't have any experience, because you need a baseline understanding of what you are actually doing, and this is what will differentiate you from other candidates. So long as you can talk the talk, that will differentiate you. And I've linked a link to course careers down below if you'd like to learn more. Step number 2, after you complete course careers, is to optimize your LinkedIn profile. You need a great LinkedIn profile because the recruiters, the hiring managers will look at your LinkedIn profile. And even if you're applying to companies through LinkedIn, you need a good LinkedIn profile. Step number 3, you need to have a great resume. And this is something you want to do before you even start applying to companies. You want your resume to be 1 page, you want it to pass the eye test, and you want it to be quantifiable, not just saying what you did. Hey, I made cold calls. You say what you did and the result of that. I made cold calls to B2B companies resulting in $5 million in revenue. Step number 4 is you list companies that you want to work for. Follow your curiosity. Most people are always asking me, Trent, what company should I apply to? And fortunately, in section 4, I'm going to give you specific companies especially software sales companies that you can apply for that I would want to work at. But follow your curiosity. What are your work preferences? What type of buyers do you want to be selling to? What type of company do you want to work at? Public, private, remote, in office? Think about this. Step number 5, apply to the companies. If you do not apply, you cannot get an interview. And if you cannot get an interview, you will never get an offer. So therefore, you'll never get the job. And then finally, step number 6, after you've applied at these very specific companies with your LinkedIn profile, with your resume, with your course career certificate, you will then begin networking into these companies by connecting with the leaders and the employees of that company on LinkedIn that can influence the hiring process. So you'll connect with them on LinkedIn, you'll start commenting on their post, you'll cold email them, you'll cold call them, and these are all backdoor strategies for how people with no business, no credentials, no experience, not the right background, you can get hired at companies like Salesforce, HubSpot, Oracle, the best companies in the world by following this strategy, and it's proven to work. So that's how you break into tech sales with no experience. Moving forward to section number 3. Oh, Trent, how much money can I expect to make? Well, it's very lucrative. The entry-level position is a sales development representative in most cases. You'll also see business development representative. They're basically interchangeable. And that's the entry-level role that most of you will want to go for. The next role is an account executive. The next role is an enterprise account executive. The next role is a sales manager. And then the role above that would be some sort of executive leadership position. When I started out in 2018 as an SDR, my on-target earnings was about $60,000. And my very first year, I made $77,000. Fast forward 4.5 years later, I promoted 6 times to a senior account executive. So I went from SDR1 to SDR2 to SDR3 to AE3 to AE4 to AE5. So 6 promotions. And as an AE5, my on-target earnings was $207,000. And by age 26 that year, I made $302,000. So that just shows the leap in income progression so long as you're performing. I literally 4x'd my income in 4 years. And you'll have different on-target earning thresholds throughout the course of your career. So as you promote, your salary will go up, and so will your quota. And the higher your quota, basically the more commission you're expected to close. So therefore, the more money you will ultimately be paid. And typically these compensation structures, especially at technology companies, will be your base pay, which is fixed salary, variable pay, which is commission based on performance, and then some sort of equity package in most cases. And that's when things can get really exciting. And then finally, section number 4, the best companies to work at and sell for. Start by asking, what are your work preferences? Do you want to work remote? Do you want to work in office? Do you want to work hybrid? Do you want to stay in the current location you're at? Are you willing to move? Do you want to work at a big company, 1,000 employees plus? Do you want to work at a small company, 50 employees or less? Do you want to work at a public company? Do you want to work at a private company? And then most importantly, follow your curiosity. So what do you want to sell for? I spoke with someone today who has an interview coming up with a company that sells restaurant software for cleanliness in the kitchen. And I said, well, do you connect with that mission? And she's like, no, that's not interesting to me. So I said, well, then why are you doing the interview? It makes no sense. Think about, what are you actually excited about? Can you go work for a company that sells cybersecurity software because you think that's interesting? Do you want to go directly for the big dogs, the companies that can pay you the most money? Amazon Web Services, Azure at Microsoft? Maybe you want to go to apply to OpenAI. If I were to look in the job market, there's a few public software companies that I would be really interested in, most notably Snowflake, ZoomInfo, MongoDB, ServiceNow, CrowdStrike. Those are the immediate companies that come to mind. Some of the private tech companies that I would be interested in, I applied to a company called Pave last year and got rejected. This is a venture capital funded company. I'm also really interested in a company called Clary. This is a sales pipeline management software. I think they're up to some really cool stuff. There's a company called Glean. That's an AI startup that I thought was really cool that I applied to. Those are the companies that I personally would want to work at, but do your research as well. If you want to work for a venture capital funded company like I did, because eventually they'll go public, you would hope, and then you can get a liquidity event, make a bunch of money because your equity will become worthwhile. Google, Forbes Cloud 100, Who are the top venture capital funded companies? Who are the best software companies to work for? Do your research. Don't just auto apply. Go find a very curated list of 10 companies that you would be really excited to work for. And then those are the companies you begin applying to and then networking with the leaders on LinkedIn. In today's video, we covered 4 important topics as it relates to your tech sales career. Number 1, why sales is the best career. Number 2, how to land a tech sales job with no experience. Number 3, how much money you can expect to make. And then finally, number 4, the best companies to work for. If you enjoyed today's video and find value from it, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit the like button if you had not already, so other aspiring sales professionals can get access to this information. And subscribe to the channel now for more sales videos just like this one, and I'll talk to you in the next video.